Hi guys, welcome back to the Real Player Podcast. It's Ebony,
And this is Ciera.
and today we are going to talk about ourselves a little bit, chat, get to know us a little bit more, catch up with some things we have going on.
I know last episode I was talking about how I shot my shot and
Ooh,
four,
yeah.
four times and how it didn't pan out for me for three of those times. So if you guys have not listened to the last episode about shooting my shot, please go back and listen to it. I went out last night and I was told that I wasn't really shooting my shot per se. I'm like, but I was because I was kind of showing the interest. So
Mm-hmm.
then we asked the guy, what's the definition of shooting your shot? And before I tell you what he says, what is your definition of shooting your shot?
Oh God. So to me, shooting your shot would be, I guess what you're saying, like showing genuine interest in someone or making it known to someone that you're interested, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, walking up to a guy and saying, "You're really cute. I think that we should go out sometime." That would be shooting your shot. I don't know if I would do that, but that would be shooting your shot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that sometimes with social media, people get it misconstrued because people think like, for instance, our friend thinks sending an emoji is like shooting your shot into someone's DM.
I'm gonna do that though. I
Are
am
you?
going to do that. I am going to. So we posted the a little piece of our a clip on our social media. Go ahead and follow us if you haven't yet. It's at the Real Play Podcast. But yeah, so we posted a clip from that episode, and then I think the caption said, something about shooting your shot. Like, have you shot your shot, ladies or
Mm-hmm.
fellas? Or and fellas, how do you want a woman to shoot your shot? So one of our male listeners came back and said that, just drop that basketball emoji in the inbox and you good. It works 9 times out of 10. Now, guys, does that work? Please tell me. I'm gonna try
Right.
it anyway, just to see. Like, I don't mind being a test dummy. I'm gonna go ahead and just, drop it, see what happens, see if it sparks a conversation. Because if nothing else, we can talk about basketball. If that's where he takes it, we can talk about basketball. But I think he also told us like drop a heart and like 3 pictures or something. I can't remember what it was, but the basketball one stood out
I
the
didn't
most to
see that
me.
part of the post, but remember when we had Greg and Cam on? They were saying reply to stories and send like the lit or that works too. I don't know if that necessarily works, but that's what they said.
Reply to the story. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they said basically reply to something that they have posted so that so they know that you're interested, like you're following what they're doing. So I've done that, and that was another shoot the shot situation, and it didn't work out. But that wasn't in 2021. This was in 2020, and he was posting stories about being in Chicago, and I was like, oh. Is a pizza worth going to go up there to get and da 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 da? And he didn't even respond. I'm like, bruh, okay, but you still steady looking at my story. So like, if you're not gonna respond to me, do I need to block you? But I don't block people. I think that's retarded.
Well, this is what guys can tell us too. Why wouldn't a guy respond to a DM from a woman?
I don't know why. I know why he didn't, because maybe a couple months. It was probably like 2 to 3 months later. He was on another trip and he was with his girlfriend.
Oh well.
Okay, so first of all, you started following me, so I followed you back. And then I tried to start a conversation, and then you didn't respond because you had a girlfriend. You could have just said that. That's all you had to say. Like, I have a girlfriend, but yeah, the pizza's good. Because I wasn't even asking about you. I'm a foodie. I literally was asking about the pizza because I wanted to know. It looked good, but was it worth the trip to Chicago, to the Chi? So, like we said, go back and listen to that episode. You will hear somewhat funny stories of my life. But the guys yesterday, and it was only the guys, they said that shooting your shot basically means that you're showing interest and letting the guy know that you want to have sex with them. And we
Is
were like,
that
that that's what the guys said. It was two guys. And me and the other girl, we're like, no, that
so?
does not mean that.
Just to clarify, when women shoot their shot, they only guys are like they want to have sex with me. Period.
Yes.
This is not like a date thing. This is not, I want to
Correct.
see where it goes. This is, oh, okay. No,
That
no,
is
no, no.
well, that was their thought pattern. We're like, you are bonkers. Like that's not a thing. I mean, it could be, but I'd also feel like it also depends on how she shoots it, like what she says or how aggressive she is, or what she comments on. Um,
I can see the correlation though, right? It's like you might like me enough to have sex with me. Not that you will, but you might.
find me so physically attractive. The only reason why you're sending me a message is because you want to jump my bones. Nah,
I mean,
I was not. I want to say it was probably the drinks they were drinking that got them saying that.
oh, okay.
Because I was not. I was like, no, I don't mind showing the interest. I will let you know I'm interested so that you can capitalize on that. Like once you know, it's in your hands. But I'm definitely not saying, oh, let me let you know I'm interested so that I can come bring you home and have sex with you. Like that's not it.
I did talk to a guy about this after we posted that and asked him like, would he mind like a girl shooting their shot or whatever? And he was saying no, because sometimes men are shy and they might not be as confident, and so they would appreciate someone shooting their shot. However, I then asked like, would you take the girl seriously? And he said maybe, maybe not. It depends on how she approach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I'm like, well, then that makes it more complicated. Like you want the girl to approach, but then you might not actually take her seriously and you might just be flattered by it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a sticky situation. And then I was also talking to another friend, like, okay, so if a woman shoots their shot, is the guy then expecting the woman to like take him out on a date, pay for the date? Like, how does that work?
I hope that's not the. I really hope that's not what they think,
Okay.
because I feel like shooting your shot is just showing interest to me. So if I
Mm-hmm.
show you interest and then you reciprocate that, then whoever asks to go out first, okay, that's it is what it is. But you hope I don't. That's not my plan for me to be like, hey, I showed you I'm interested. You responded. Now I'm gonna ask you out. No,
Mm,
not the first time. Like I don't mind taking a guy out, but no, not the first time.
yeah.
So that was one of the conversations we had yesterday. And then we just had more conversations. Of course, when the men or women together, they start talking about relationships and
Mm-hmm.
different things like that. So we talked about how what is it? So like when a man when you are trying to so at my age, I'm older, right? So the guy was like, oh, I don't know why nobody talks to, or why you're single and your eyes are so this and so that, because I had my mask on. I was the only one in there with the mask on. I sure did. I sure did. I sat at the bar with my mask
Listen.
on the entire time, except for when I ate my crab cake egg rolls
Mm,
and my house salad and drank my drink. Other than that,
that's good.
that mask was on, and I was literally the only one at the bar, and the bar wraps all the way around. So I'm like, oh well. So then he did ask me like, what's going on? Why are you still wearing your mask? And I told him, but then I was like, it's also kind of a little seductive. You know what I'm saying? Like all you see are
All
my
right.
eyes. You can't see
Seductive.
everything. So like, look, you really don't know, right? So anyways, that's completely off topic. But I was saying, guys don't really approach as much as you would think they would,
Correct.
mainly because in my opinion they feel as though they're going to have to step up real quick and think they're going to be in like this committed relationship and end up married with kids within a year. Now that could happen, and I'm not going to force you. I don't believe in ultimatums. But he was just saying my problem probably is I need to level up on the guys that I talk to or the
Hmm.
guys that I attract, because he proceeded to tell me and my friend, he's like, okay, so you guys went to school, you have an education, you have a job, you own a house, you make this much money, you this, you're this, you're that. Do you realize that not 7 out of 9 men don't even have that? And we're like, so that doesn't mean that they can't still try or we still can't be
Mm-hmm.
something. But he was like, you need to either talk to somebody on your level or above, because if not, these other guys that may message you a little while and ghost you is because they're realizing they don't even wait. They don't match up to you.
Greater
And
than or equal to. I always say that greater than or equal to, but I'm saying it in response to salary. But I mean it with the other things too.
but what's hard is you don't know what somebody has when you first meet them. Like I do feel
That's
like you
true.
can't just message them 2 or 3 times and then think that you know them enough or you know enough about their background. Well, okay, they're above me, or oh, they're below me. Let me go ahead and slide
Hmm.
out. Like, and then slide out and say something. We're adults. We're in our 30s. My girl was talking about how she was planning to go out and they talked and planned the date, like the day, the location and the time. He talked to her earlier that day, talking about he was going to get his hair cut and, he'll see her later. Then crickets, nothing.
Oh my God. See, the thing, I don't know if it's just here, and we've talked about this on the podcast too, but I just feel like in the DMV area, a lot of men, like, they're either scared to approach, or if they do approach, it's no really substance behind it. Like, why is dating so hard in 2021? Like, it shouldn't be this difficult. You should be able to mutually say, I like you, you like me, let's start dating, But there's always got to be, it's always something, something.
I think it's because everyone's afraid to get hurt. Everyone, like, they're not in tune with their emotions. They don't want to put themselves out there. So they're
Mm-hmm.
just going to, like, play everything super duper safe and not go all in. And hey, I have been guilty of that. I'm not going to just go all in because you don't want to be the one with the broken heart. But I think
Mm-hmm.
if both people are doing that, or if the majority of society is doing that, it leads to a lot of single people just jumping around to each other in situationships and wasting precious time where they could be really truly loving somebody. So,
Yeah. And I think social media plays a huge part. We have so much access to so many people that we normally wouldn't have access to. And I think a lot of men don't really want to settle down. And then there's all of these women who are, and we talked about this on the podcast, who are leveling up, who are getting the education, reading the books, trying to
mhm.
better themselves mentally, physically, emotionally. And then we have the men over here who are, they don't really have to do much, because we need men. So we're just gonna accept whatever comes. Like, I'm tired of being lonely. I'm tired of being by myself. So you'll work. And I think that we just, as a community, we have to have a come to Jesus moment and say, like, look, something is not working. But
Mhm.
and also on my vacation,
Mhm.
saw a lot of black men. But guess who they were with?
Others?
Anything but us.
So
Anything but us.
so what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's sad and unfortunate because I would love for black men to value black women as much as they value other women and other races. I feel like we aren't respected as much. We aren't protected as much. We aren't, like I said, valued as much as someone else. And I think that black men are willing to accept, this goes back to colorism too, willing to accept an other race as long as they're not us. And it's because skin color, you are more, you can easily go into more, what's the word I'm looking for? Different pockets of people who you can easily like transition, especially if you're in business and something like that. Like, oh, well, you work well in this type of environment. Like, I don't want to take her, she might, we're always seen as like outsiders or outcasts or ghetto, and
Mm.
not like we can, I feel like we can go in multiple spaces. I don't know,
Right.
I think that it's unfortunate that a lot of black men do not want to like a lot of black women, and so eventually we're going to have to start looking outside our race too. And then what does that mean for us?
Wha- hmm.
Not
Mm.
we, me, I said other people.
Yeah, that'll be, I mean, if it gets to that point, I can see it. I see there's a lot of, not a lot. There's a fair amount of people, at least on social media, that are repping for Black women, and we love Black women. So hopefully that comes back, like that wave of wanting to go other places, especially a lot of celebrities and athletes and, people like that. Like they may go outside of their race, which is fine if that's what you want to do. Love has no color, no boundaries, all that good stuff. But for me in my house,
As for me in
I
my house.
I want an African American male
Yeah, me
to be
too.
my
And
husband.
I think there's something beautiful about, and let me be clear. I don't also subscribe to you have to stay with your race. However, I just think there's something beautiful about Black love and Black people. And I would prefer personally to stay with someone within my race, a good Black man, So I don't know. I don't know. Another question, because we were talking about this on vacation too, is do you think that so when you're in a relationship or in general, right? Any relationship, let's talk about that. Because I feel like let's just talk about romantic relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that person has to provide some type of value, or should they provide value?
To you, like bring value to
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Is this a trick question?
Value can No, it's not
Yeah.
a trick
What is your
question.
what are we calling value? I mean, what are we defining
But
value
value
as?
could be anything. Value could be, it depends on what you as a person defines as value. So value could mean money. Value could mean commitment. Value could mean um
So I guess I can say, like, if you are in a relationship, either platonic or romantic, yes, each person should bring something to the relationship. So if we're gonna call it value, then we'll call it value.
any type of enhancement. It should, to me, enhance your life in some way. I've
Yeah,
had an
e-
argument with a friend, and they were like, "No, I don't feel like every relationship should bring in something." But I'm like, if you're realistic about the situation, every relationship that you have provides some value to your life. It might be there, like it might just be teaching you something. You might
right,
learn something different from a person. They just
right.
might bring a different perspective. It's something. It's never nothing though.
It's either you're adding or you're taking away. So
Mm-hmm.
I think yes, they should always bring something to the table, and then you should do the same thing, because when you don't
Yes.
give back, that's when the relationships start to feel one-sided, and one person starts to feel slighted, and the next thing you know, you're not working on the relationship and it ends. Like, you can't have a relationship without communicating, without truly caring for the other person and their well-being and wanting to do things to help make them better. And if you're both doing that, you're just going to continue to keep growing it.
Yes, I agree. And I feel like also when it comes to dating, sometimes it's hard to, because I don't know if you experience this with dating. A lot of men want to stay on like surface level conversations, and it's hard to have those deep, vulnerable conversations. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, I can't really get to know you if I can't really figure out who you are. If we're just going to have the conversation about how's work, how's your day going, like that's cool, but I need to know more about you.
Right. I have definitely experienced that. I experienced that whenever, you're starting off, you meet somebody on a dating app, like that
Mm-hmm.
first day, 2 days is that. And if they don't go further than that, I'm like, I ain't got time to pull teeth. Like,
Right.
we're not, how was my day? My day was fine. What did you do today? I went to work. I mean, I could elaborate, and I will if it's somebody that I feel like, okay, well, let me try to
Mm-hmm.
find out more about them. So I may try to elaborate just to see how far they'll go. But if they still want to keep it surface level, and especially to me, if I ask you a question and you don't ask me another question back, or even the same
Yes.
question back, you're not
Mm-hmm.
interested.
Right.
So that's okay. Like, not everyone's going to be interested in me, and I'm fine with that. I'll just
Mm-hmm.
move on to the next. And
But then
speaking
too,
of,
it's like, why you keep talking to me? Like, if you're not interested, stop talking to me.
eventually they will stop, because I'm gonna stop responding. So it'll be
True.
on your turn. I'm like, but I was gonna say, which reminds me of another dating funny thing that happened on the dating app. Y'all gonna love my stories because I'm gonna keep telling y'all my stories as they happen, as they unfold. So I went out to
Mhm.
restaurant week the other day. I mean, yeah, the other day, and
Oh, it's restaurant week here? I didn't know that.
it was for Howard County. That it ends today for Howard County. It starts in Baltimore tomorrow. I think it's 2 weeks in Baltimore, and I don't know when it's in DC. So I just kind of hop around. But we went to a place in
Okay.
Howard County, and I was just talking about, the last person that I was talking to on the dating app, and we were talking for like 2 weeks. He was actually in DR. He had just got back, was messaging me while he was
Oh,
down
wow.
there, supposedly. I don't know if he's down there for real or not, but he was real cool. He seemed cool, even when I wasn't responding. And I am the queen of not responding because I don't get back on the app.
Mhm.
Um, because I don't hear the notification. Like I already get enough text messages, DMs. Like I don't go to the dating app. So he was like, "Oh, well, I know that, you're taking a while to respond. How about we just exchange Insta, or do you have IG? How about we exchange that?" Which to me, that doesn't bother me because I'm like, "Okay, cool," because I know I'll hear that notification. Mind you, this is 2 weeks in. So I'm like, "Okay," and we've been having good conversations. Talked about his past relationship, he was married, how long he was married, about his children. Like I was like, "Okay, he's really trying because I'm really being a jerk and not responding quickly." So, and how quickly it ended after that. So I gave him he asked me some questions. I gave him my Instagram and he didn't like send the follow at first. So I sent him a message but the next day. I'm like, "Hey, I didn't see these 2 questions you sent me because you just told me you were going to get on my Instagram. So here it is. Hit me up there." So he sends me the friend request, the follow request. And then he sends me a message like, "Hey, I just sent the request." I'm like, "Cool." I go in there, accept, follow back, That's what you're supposed to do.
Right, right.
So it was like in the evening, I was doing other stuff. So maybe a couple hours later, I'm like, "Well, why dude ain't hit me up?" So then
Mhm.
I go to my notifications, which would usually say such and such and such and such have started following you, which I'm used to seeing. His name won't there in the list of the new followers. So I'm like, "Wait a minute, hold on." So I went to my page and I'm with the followers and I couldn't remember his name on Instagram. On Instagram, because people's names aren't always the same as
Oh, oh,
other
true,
stuff.
true, true, true.
So I'm like, dang, I can't even look him up because I don't know his name. I'm like, and I don't know how to see who I sent a follow back to. I don't know Instagram that well. I don't know if you can even do that. So I was like, oh snap,
It
let me
doesn't
go.
come in your notifications
Who you send a follow back to? No, it comes in your notifications who's
if they
following
follow
you.
you. Got it, got
Yeah.
it, got it, got it.
So I couldn't even look him up. So I'm like, dang, all right, well, let me just go back to this little dating app and I'm gonna go tell him like what's good, what happened. I don't see you no more. I go back to the dating app, yo. I'm like, oh wait, he's not in my conversations. Wait, hold the phone. What?
He
So
unfollowed you?
I guess you block. I don't know how you do on this dating app. Unfollow, block, whatever. Yes, he deleted the conversation. So he's no longer in my matched conversation. So I'm like, this is super weird.
Earrings.
Like he's the one who was having a good time and was like
Mhm.
suggested this, and I'm like, there's nothing on my Instagram that I am ashamed of anything that makes me look crazy or nothing on there. Like it's basic. Yes, it is closed, it's private, but if I let you see it, y'all ain't nothing on there. So I'm like, okay, this is whatever. So I'm telling my girlfriends this at the winery where we're at, and I said his name. No, she was talking about a guy that was kind of irky a little bit. Like he
Mhm.
wanted to follow her on social media. He wanted to follow her on Instagram. He sent her a friend request on another app. He was just doing all this extra stuff, and she was just like, "Yo, this guy's too much." And he probably found me because we had one friend in common, and that same
Mhm.
friend in common that she had with him was the same friend, one of the two friends I had in common with him. And I
Oh,
remember
wow.
early on, I was like, "Oh, I see, girl A and girl B. How do you know these two?" And one of them he went to high school with, and the other one he worked with. The one he went to high school with is the same girl that he had in common with my other friend. So
Mm.
then we started putting one and two together. I was like, wait, is his name blah? And she was like, I think that's it. So
Dang.
she had to go through her matches, and he wasn't in her matches no anymore. No, I think he was, but we weren't going to open his message. That's what it was. We weren't going to open his message. So we went to his regular profile account and I saw his picture. I said, that is him. Okay. So basically, what probably happened was he followed me and saw within the last of my last 3 or 4 posts, she was
That
in
y'all
there.
was like real friends.
We were together.
Ooh.
Multiple pictures of us together. Like, yeah. So he probably said, okay, I got to pick. Either I'm going to go with this one that I've been trying to holler at or this one who I just started talking to 2 weeks ago. I don't know how much she really was talking to him. She wasn't feeling him. I was trying to see if I can feel him because he wasn't physically the person that I would originally go to. But his conversation and the fact that he didn't just give up when I was a jerk and would literally like take days to
Mm-hmm.
respond. And then he wasn't pushy whenever I got back. And his thing was, oh, hey, I'm seeing you're not responding. Hey, how about we just do it this way? I'm sure that'll be a quicker way to communicate. And I was like, you know what? I even like the way he asked. So yeah, that happened. And I found that out on Friday and it was hilarious. And I think he did it probably Monday or Tuesday. So it's fresh. So yeah, like that wasn't a ghosting situation. But even in that case, like you could have just, I guess, said, oh, okay, well, I'm no longer interested or something. Like he just
Yeah.
deleted me and unfollowed me and all of that so quickly.
Yeah, and that's tough too. Being on an app, you never know who like other friends are on these apps. You never
Mhm.
know who they're communicating with. If you're communicating with the same guy, which is insane to think about. You could really be dating the same person that your friend is dating
You could.
unknowingly. Because I mean, you don't tell everybody, every single body that you kind of rotate on these apps because they like in and out.
Right.
I don't know. I've been talking to this guy on from one of the apps for like 2 months, but I feel like it's not really going anywhere. So it's like just generic. We literally talk every day, but it's like generic conversation. So I just kind of like,
That surface level you just said you don't like.
correct, correct. So I'm just like, I got you in the friend category. So I feel like he's a nice person. So I'll keep you over there, and I'll keep it moving.
So why do you really see him as a friend? Or do you see him as someone like, you know what, I'm just not really interested in him and he's just kind of there?
Um,
Like, would you make him like a true friend, like a guy friend, or would he just be someone you just weren't interested in? And instead of breaking his heart and telling him leave you alone, you're just gonna be like, okay, well, you can just keep.
No, I do see him as a friend, and he's a nice person. Because normally, yeah, I don't mind. I stopped ghosting though, but I don't mind ghosting or being like, okay, this is not working.
Mhm.
But I think he's a good person. So there's nothing like. I just also recognize that it's not giving what it's supposed to give. So, meaning like if he was really interested, we've been out on one date. So we would have been on multiple dates. Like I'm not used to guys like only asking me out on one date. Like usually it's okay, we go on this one day. I'm asking you on the second one. We're
Mhm.
seeing where it goes from there. If you don't ask me out on the second day, I assume that maybe you really don't like me like that.
Mhm.
Or or you're talking to so many other women that I'm just the one on the list. And I'm thinking it's the second. I'm just the one on the list that you're texting, talking to. It is what it is.
Okay. So that reminds me of something else we talked about last
Mm-hmm.
night at the bar. And it was the guy was telling me I might need to just take somebody out of my friend zone. He was like, you may have somebody in your friend zone that you should be dating. He can be an incredible boyfriend, husband. And I was like, I don't really have a lot of single men that I've friend zoned. Like either they're in a relationship or yeah, that's really it. I don't really sit around and like, okay, like he likes me, but I'm gonna go ahead and friend zone him right now. I've probably been friend zoned a lot more than what I friend zone people. I mean, there are a few, I ain't gonna lie. There's a few that I know they like me. I'm like, nah, you in the friend zone. Like it ain't coming out to that. Like you're in there forever. But when he said that, it kind of was like, wow, could he be right? Like, could my mate be someone that I'm looking at as just a friend and he's just right there, like right there?
So I don't have any guy friends that I would move out of the friend zone. None, actually. So that would be a no for me. But let's say that this guy that I was just talking about, if I was to friend zone him and things would like potentially we would be good friends, blah blah blah, and I really start to value his uh presence, and maybe then I would move him back because he originally didn't start off as a friend. I think that probably is the difference.
But why do you think you wouldn't take anyone out of your friend zone that's in your friend zone now? That's the part that he was trying to tell me. He was trying to tell me I
I
have
guess
some.
if I was attracted to any of my friends, or I felt like I liked any of my friends on that level, like I have no guy friends that I'm like, maybe maybe like, if I can just, you know, maybe take you
Mhm.
like take you seriously, this thing will work. I don't have any guy friends like that. Like I don't have any guy. If I was attracted, this probably goes back to what people say like men and women can't be friends. But if I was attracted to any of my guy friends, or I felt like we were able to be on that level where I'm attracted to you and I feel like we can romantically connect,
Mhm.
yes, then I would take them out the friend zone. But I don't have any.
Okay. Yeah. When he said that, I was like, let me. Do I need to look back? Am
Do
I?
you have
Mhm.
any?
No, I can't think of any. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
okay,
Like I
okay.
haven't thought of any, but when he said it last night, and it was late, so I ain't thought about it since then. But it's just like, I do know a lot of guys. I wouldn't call them all like my friends, but I used to tutor that student athletes, so I knew a lot of them when I was in college. And they say, "Oh, you probably met your spouse or whoever in college, and you just don't
Mm-hmm.
know it." So there's a lot of people who know me that are of the male persuasion. Okay,
Oh well, you
so
might could be able to circle back. Like, but do you know any guys that would take you out the friend zone? That's the question.
but I think the way I'm thinking of it, yeah, they would take me out for sure. But what I'm thinking of is like maybe we're not friends. Like I'm not thinking them as friends. It'll be just people that I know, acquaintances, guys that I've tutored or saw on campus and they were on the team.
Oh, got
We
it, got it,
know
got it.
of each other, but I've never looked at them as romantic. So would I take them out of a friend zone of someone I was never interested in and give them an actual chance? Is the thing.
Oh, well,
That's
yeah,
kind of
maybe, yeah, yeah.
that's kind of how I took it because I don't have any. There's one guy friend that I probably would give a try because we were just really cool. But other than that, most of them, nah, I wouldn't. But the acquaintances, like the male people that I know, there could one of husband could be one of them, and I just never looked at him. And that's the key. It's like you just never look at the person that way. And then one day you may just look at them and look in their eyes, and they look in your baby brown eyes and be like, "That's her." And I'll be like,
Yeah.
"That's him." And then there it goes. But I haven't even thought to go back. You don't go back in your past and look at people.
No,
Until
I
you get
think
a boyfriend or girlfriend, then they're like, "Oh, I had such a big crush on you in college. So now that I'm engaged, now you got a crush on me? Like, why didn't you tell me that
right
15 years ago?"
when I was all single
Right.
and ready to mingle. I think there's any guy that showed me genuine interest that I might have been slightly interested, I've already probably considered. But people get fined after college, so I might have to circle back and see what these guys looking like.
You
But I
might.
also went to a small school, so I don't know. I
You
don't
never
know.
know. Or it could be high school, it could be college, it can be your first job and people you met in another state you lived in. It could be anywhere. So I just know the
True.
majority of people that I know, like I know a lot of people. And my friends will be like, "Oh, do you know this person?" Yes. Do you know? Yes. Like I'm the one who just happens to know everybody out of my closest girlfriends from school. And then even coming up here, like I was very active in Panhellenic Council, which is like all of Divine Nine Greek
Hmm.
organization. So of course I know people across the board. That's what I do. Networking is key to life. So getting to where you want to go, you got to network. So yeah, I probably got a whole plethora of possible friend zoned suitors, but I don't know if I would have ever thought to even look backwards. It's more like, let me find, I mean, let somebody new find me, but maybe I just need to go to homecoming and walk around
All
and,
right.
see what's popping. But not this year because COVID is still out there and this Delta variant. I don't think I'm going to do homecoming. It's in October. Probably won't do that though. But anyway, that just got me back to what we were talking about yesterday. We talked about a lot yesterday and it went
I wish
all
I
the way
knew a
left.
lot of single guys so that I can like do some matchmaking. I mean, I would match myself first, but then do some matchmaking like
Would you do
still.
matchmaking? Because I just had a whole conversation about this the other day.
I would. Man, we've talked about this before. I know you wouldn't with mutual friends, but I personally would. Matchmake is the thing. I love it. So if I know someone that would be great for someone else, I would match them. As long as, again, I think they're right for each other. And because, yeah, I would definitely matchmake.
So how do you feel about matchmaking? So if you used to have like a little crush on a guy, right? And you found him attractive and you thought you might want to talk to him. Y'all never talked, but you found him attractive and then he was like, "Oh, hook me up with your girl."
Hmm.
Would you try to shoot your shot at that or would you still be okay with, okay, well, he never approached me. He kind of probably should have known I was interested. I'll go ahead and hook him up with my friend.
Okay. Am I still interested?
You're newly not interested because you got to the point where you're just like, he's not really showing the same level of interest and I've given him a clue. He should be able to figure it out. So you're just like, "Huh." But you still
Okay.
think he's cute and you would, if he were to come to you, you would, but you're not like,
See, that's the key. You can't hook him up with no friend. If you're even a little interested in the guy, you cannot because then you're gonna be looking later at the friend and him, and if it work out, you're gonna be like,
that could have been me. Look.
see, that could have been me. We could have been, out on these dates, and so I think that if that's the case, you can let the guy know, like, hey, I'm really interested in you. That's the thing too, like letting your friends know, like, hey, I'm interested. Like, I don't know, because I had a conversation like with the same guy that I was just telling you about. He was just like, if you were interested in a guy, like, would you tell him that you was interested, or
Hmm.
would you just let it ride to see if they ever said anything? And I'm like,
Hmm.
I probably wouldn't say anything. And then he
Right.
was like, well, dang, that's unfortunate that you would never say anything. I'm
Hmm.
like, because you can tell if somebody is interested in you, right? If
I
you,
feel like it. I feel like you
yeah,
can, but guys act like they really just can't. Like you need to break it down. Like I like you.
nah, they
Other
know.
than that, they're just like, okay, well, she is kind of flirting with me, but maybe that's just how she does. She flirt with everybody. No, that's not how I do. Well, I mean, I do, but that doesn't mean that everyone's like that. So I do think sometimes they feel as though they need to hear the words to know for sure, so that they know that if they try, they're not gonna get shot down. But at the same time, I'm like, but you ain't boo boo the fool. Like, what else I gotta do? They gotta give you a card that says it. I gotta
Right.
wear
A
a
blues
T-shirt and say,
clue.
yeah, like I want you to be mine. Like, what do I gotta do?
Right.
So that
So,
that's crazy.
but back to the thing, like, I definitely think if you're interested in a guy, like, there's no hookup with other friends. Now,
Ever.
however, however, y'all probably gonna hate me for this. I've been out with a guy and not have been interested and been like, dang, he would be really good for one of my friends. So, and then I've told one of my friends, like, hey, I do know this guy. Like, we went on one date, wasn't anything serious. Like, and I think he's a great guy. Like, would you be interested in dating him? And my friends are like, Ebony, that's whack. You cannot introduce, your friend to anybody that you went on a date with. But I'm like, it was one date.
Yeah, if it's one date, I don't see any problem with that. One date is
Yeah.
okay. Like if
I mean,
y'all was
even
like in
two
a
dates.
relation, yeah, if y'all was in a relationship, then no, that's like sloppy seconds. But if
Yeah.
you went on one date and you gathered enough data to know he wasn't for you,
Yeah.
but you know your friends, I don't see nothing wrong with that. That's okay.
Yeah, I would do that. I'm like, oh, he seems like a really nice guy, just not for me, you know.
Hmm.
So I don't mind, but I mean, I guess if you tell your friends like, hey, this is a guy that I went on a date with, I can see them one reason why they wouldn't be interested. But
Would you not be interested? Would you say, "Hey, wow, I'm not gonna go out with him because you went out with somebody once," or would you be okay if the tables were turning and they were trying to do it for you?
yeah, that's true. That's true.
No, I'm asking you. Would you be
Oh,
okay?
I don't know. It will depend on the friend that's trying to hook me up. Most likely, I probably would be like, no. I mean,
Mm. Simply
yeah.
because they dated him?
Yeah, it'll be what in what capacity depends on the friend because people use dating and friends very loosely. So I would need to know for sure that it wasn't really anything because people lie. I found that out real quick. Like
Mm.
you ever talk to friends and they're like, "Oh yeah, we were just friends," and then you found out later that it wasn't just strictly friends, and I'm like, "I thought you said y'all was just friends." And it was
Mm-hmm.
something else. So I would have to know for sure that it wasn't anything. Because people be lying.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you're on my side because I definitely told him no, it's a no go for me. Um, but he was like, nah. I mean, well, do you still like him or do you this and do you that? I'm like, I mean, no, I don't, but that doesn't mean I don't hook up anybody anyway. Like I
Yeah,
don't.
you've said this.
But I will line you up. So I had a gathering here for my housewarming,
Mm-hmm.
and two of my friends were here, and the guy was like, oh, who's the girl in such and such dress? I was like, I told him her name. He's like, oh, tell her I want to talk to her. There's not even a whole lot of people here. You can go and talk to yourself. He's like, tell her. I was like, all right. So I went outside and I was like, can you please come inside? Because this dude that's how I was like, this guy says you're pretty and he wants to talk to you. Can you come downstairs and let's all play games? We'll have game night downstairs just so that, y'all can talk. And she's like, okay. So they came down, they was in the same room and they were playing games. But apparently he didn't ask for her number. I did everything I was supposed to do. So, and I didn't know that because, I'm running around up and down the stairs, cooking, getting stuff together,
Why
whatever.
is that though? Like, was he nervous?
I didn't even ask him, but I do know that the next day she was like, oh, he was a really nice guy. You can go ahead and give him my number.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, he didn't get it from you. And she said, no, because he left really quick. He had to go somewhere else, which I was there when he left. He did
Okay.
jump up and he said, oh, I have to go. There's another event happening that night and he was going to that too. So I don't know if it just slipped his mind or what happened, but he did
Hmm.
literally jump up and go. And so it was actually kind of disturbing how quickly it happened. I'm like, wait, so you just gonna leave? But I texted him, I was like, this is her name. Well, he already knows her name, but I was like, this is her name. This is her phone number. She said that you were cool. You can text her. He's like, you're the real MVP. No, don't say him nothing because I'm doing more than what I should have. Okay. I got a light in the bathroom upstairs that needs changing. And you got the tool, the contraptions. You come over here and fix it because I gave you the phone number. That's what I'm thinking. But that's the far that even to me, I went above and beyond because that next day I shouldn't have giving him her number.
But
He
why
should have taken
not?
it upon he should have taken it upon himself. I had her come in the house with her dog into the house to come down and play games, and it wasn't even a lot of people playing games downstairs. So it was a one-on-one. They were like basically sitting right next to each other. He had ample opportunity. Now there were other people there, so it was kind of weird if
Awkward.
he would have been
Mm-hmm.
like, "Hey, yo, let me get your number" or whatever like that. But still, you could have pulled her to the side. You could have said, "Oh, let's go upstairs and get some banana pudding together." Like you could have done what you had to do, but he didn't.
Men get nervous.
Nah, you don't tell me to tell her to come inside and you don't do what you're supposed to do. So because she hit me up, I was like, all right, because she said he was decent or not decent, she used that word, but if she said he was cool, he can have her number. I felt as though I will do it for her. But I ain't doing that no more because I don't even know if they talk. I don't even know where they are in there, like how many times they talk. I don't know if she's feeling him, if he feeling her, because at first it's all about looks anyway.
True.
So you can see someone and be like, oh, she fine, or oh, he's sexy, and then they open their mouth and you be like,
Mm-hmm.
mm. So I don't know. I'm not going to ask any questions because it's none of my business. But let them know. And they've actually been to one of my other events at the same time, but probably didn't even notice each other. So in the future, if I have another event, they're both going to get invited. So hopefully it works out or it ends in a nice way. Nobody ghosts each other because that's going to be awkward. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that.
think as an adult, you learn to like if my friend was to hook me up with someone, I wouldn't, and if it didn't work out with the guy, like I wouldn't, you know, make it awkward between both parties. I mean, I
I
don't,
think wouldn't it naturally be awkward though if you're I would think it would be naturally awkward. Like if I know, so matter of fact, I know my friend used to talk to, she had a boyfriend.
Mhm.
I didn't invite him because I didn't want the both of them to feel awkward around each other here. And I'm more friends with, I knew him longer, but I'm closer friends with her. So I had to make the choice, like, who am I going to invite? Which one am I going to invite? It's going to be this one. Um, and because you just don't want, like, if you're having an event, you don't want a weird energy. And naturally, depending on how it ends,
Yeah.
there's gonna be like if there's a ghosting or a real fallout, like if it's
Mhm.
one of those, oh, I went out, like you said, I went out with him one time and realized he wasn't for me. That's okay. Y'all both can come to the party. But if y'all talk for 3 months and someone cheated, or y'all talked
Mhm.
and someone was cussing each other out, like mentally and verbally abusive, I'm probably not gonna know that because I don't know either of y'all as mates. I know y'all as friends. So you're
Mhm.
definitely a different person how when you're with your friends than you are with your significant other.
Right.
So I don't know. And I'm probably not gonna know the real reason why it ends. But y'all ain't about to bring that energy in my house. That's why I just don't hook y'all up. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like if you're mature, and if it did come to that, then those two parties can talk about like whatever happened to squash it, so it's not awkward. I mean, if they're mature, but
Keyword. We got people ghosting. To me, that's completely immature. That is the most immature thing you can do when you're talking to somebody is just
well, see,
disappear off the
I've
face of the
ghosted,
earth.
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Most of the time when I've ghosted, it's like I didn't know the person that well, or we haven't gotten to know each other, or I done sent warning signs before and it just wasn't taken seriously. So it just depends. It
I
depends
think
on the
even
situation.
think even with that, you can be like, all right, well, it was fun, or all right, you've been a jerk. I'm not talking to you anymore. And then let that part be known than to just not respond and not say anything. I know
I
you
mean,
can say, well, you don't owe the person anything, but I think like for yourself, like I just think it's an adult thing to do is to talk, to use your words, communicate what you're really feeling.
I think it depends on the situation. But yes, I agree with you, but I definitely think it depends on the situation.
Okay. All right. Well, um, that kind of goes to what we were talking about hooking up friends, and if friends work out, they work out. If they don't, they don't. If you ghost, you ghost. It's up to you.
Hmm.
Um, but people, what do you guys think about hooking up friends or dating someone that your friend went out with once or twice, or they told you, hey, this is the person that I think would be better for you than me? Like, would you take that as a blessing, or would you take that as, I want them sloppy seconds? Because nah, you already been there, done that. Even if nothing physical happened, what would you do? Like, let us know. So Ebony said depends on the friend
Hmm.
who's passing the person along, and that sounds bad, um
It does sound horrible.
but for me, I think that it would like to people that I really do call friends, like real friends,
Hmm.
I would trust them because they already know like what I'm looking for or what would be best for me.
So
And
you
I
would
would,
take someone setting you up, but you wouldn't set someone else up.
right,
Okay.
I'm not taking that upon myself because I don't want you looking at me crazy,
Okay.
because people can be crazy. Now, if someone, I have a lot of people that are older than me and that are around me, and they know, like, hey, they keep saying, we gonna find you someone.
Hmm.
Um, so if they were to do it, I know they wouldn't have been hooking me up with somebody who's like, or would try to do the best due diligence as they can, not to hook me up with somebody who's a jerk or someone who would be it wouldn't be just their friend looking at my picture and saying, "Oh, she's pretty, let me talk to them." I think they would do the work
Okay.
to make sure it's the right person for me. And I would trust them. And I would, even if they went out with them once or even twice, I would say, okay, well, if that's what you think this person's right for me because you've known me all these years, I'll give it a try. And I'll even invite them to the wedding.
All
Put them on the front seat next to mama because it happened because of you. So,
right.
yeah. So yeah. So yeah, people, let us know what you would do in that situation. And if the tables were turned, would you do that for a friend. And let's see, what else do we have? I think that's the majority of what we had for today. There is one thing that I wanted to talk about, and that was Kevin
Okay.
Samuels.
Oh
When
God.
I sent you, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's still happening, but there's a petition right now to get him removed off of YouTube, because his messages are inflammatory and abusive towards women. So, what are your thoughts on? And there's lots of comments. I didn't even go through all the comments. 'Cause I'm like, okay. And let me see how many people had signed the petition when I sent it to you.
I don't think I read the petition, but let me talk about Kevin Samuels and
It was almost 3,000, just so you know.
sometimes when people get a platform, they don't use it correctly. And I think it is very dangerous for Kevin Samuels as a Black man to spew or to say some of the things that he says. While that might be kitchen talk for some people, or he might be speaking his mind, I think that you can do it in such a way where you're not damaging people's self-esteem. You're not and here's the thing about people giving advice, they don't know everything. People
Mhm.
giving relationship advice, half of these people not in relationships, they give relationship advice, or they don't know a lot. Kevin
Right.
Samuels has been divorced. We know
Mhm.
this. We do not know if he's in a current relationship. So why are we going to him, and we, not us, but people going
In
to
general.
him
Hmm.
thinking that he is the end all be all for relationship advice? He is not. He might got a little coin. We don't even know what he got in his bank account. Because
Hmm.
someone dresses nice doesn't mean they have money. And so I think that um there is a position out for him, but I also think he has an audience who very well goes to his platform, takes his advice, wants to be wants to see what he has to say about them. Um So there's that subset of group. And then there's the other subset of group that's like, okay, he's got to go.
Hmm.
I don't personally listen to him or follow his platform, so I'm not the one who cares whether he stays or goes. However, there's groups of people out there that listen to him, um, and he is damaging our community in some of the advice that he gives. So
Yeah, I don't follow him either. I have seen a couple videos that maybe spiritual word because I definitely thought it was spiritual world all this time until they posted something and they
oh, it's
were like
not word. Oh, I thought it was world too. It's word.
WORD. Yes.
Ooh.
And they posted it and people were like, I was this years old when I realized that, because I guess it just in your mind you just see, you add in the L, is
Mm-hmm.
no L there. um but I've seen the ones that they've posted a few times, but I've never like gone to his page and like watched him, and I know there's a lot of parodies about him. But this was actually on a page called Black Marriage Movement, and it says
Mm-hmm.
remove him from YouTube and Instagram. And at the time this was posted 4 days ago, there was almost 3,000 people who have signed out of 5,000. And it says at 5,000 signatures, this petition is more likely to get picked up by local news, which I think is important that it gets picked up by local news because not everybody knows what's happening. And
Mm-hmm.
although we're not following him, to me, he is still poisoning the minds of a lot of people who are in our community that are in our age range. So it's going to affect us. And part of it's like there's a rise of violence against women, especially African American women. And this guy is spewing out hatred for women. Removing his voice would allow us to feel more safe, which I do believe. And then there's always the whole freedom of speech part of it. Like, okay, it's his constitutional right. However, when the speech is loaded with thoughts of threats and violence towards women, manipulation of young women, and even fantasies of death to women, the freedom of speech becomes a prison for all people whose thoughts and desires are intended to isolate.
Yes, and my
So,
question for whoever did the petition is, when you do a petition for Kevin Samuels, make sure you take along other people. There's music that you listen to for different artists that you can say the same thing. There's different platforms, different podcasts, different people who are not as positive as one would like them to be. And so make sure that if you're going to take down this one platform, you can't stop at just that one. You got to keep going, you know. And I didn't click on the petition when you sent it. I just read the little thing because I was on vacation then, and was like, but I'll be willing to sign the petition. I mean, I've signed petitions before if it's a topic that I'm interested in. Um, this is off the subject, but one petition I signed was I had to bring back Pillsbury's rainbow chip icing because that's like my favorite. So I did sign a petition for that. They did bring it back. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's certain. Sorry, that was my Instacart thing happened. There are certain petitions I will sign, and I'll go and sign this one. However, the only thing I'm saying is when you are trying to take one platform down based off of the things that they say and that is demeaning to women and it's spewing violence and not allowing uh, the voice is not a positive voice in our community. Just dissect other voices like that. He's not the only voice.
So do you, because it sounded like you want them to be out here doing everybody at one time. Like, okay, he's doing one thing, but we also need to go to like these rappers and these other type of people.
I'm
But
just
that
saying
kind of almost takes.
don't stop at just him. That's the thing. If you're going to do Kevin Samuels, don't just stop at him, because if you're only looking at his small platform, there's other people too. That's my only thing.
Okay.
I don't mind like you saying, okay, this is who we're targeting
Doing
for
now.
at this point in time. Yes.
Right.
Just don't stop at him because he's not the only one. That's the
Okay.
only thing for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense. I was getting it. I was interpreting it a different way, but I get what you're saying now. Um, so yeah, anybody can start a petition. Anyone can sign a petition. And most people probably only do things that are really touching them at the moment. So until somebody else does something and maybe something bad happened from something he said, which caused them to want to really step out, like, nah, I'm done with him. He said this, and then my cousin reacted this way, and then her boyfriend did you know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. People are going to let things slide until it truly affects them.
Sure.
So something may have happened and the artist may not be doing stuff right now, or even, actors and actresses and all that stuff may not have them at that level where they're like, because there's so much stuff that we're probably not going to like. And you're not meant to like everything in the world. You're not meant to love everyone, and everyone's not supposed to like you. That's just how it is. But as long as we're not making the world more dangerous by being like inconsiderate with our word usage when we have a platform. So there are some good people out there that use their platform the right way, and there's definitely probably the same amount that use it the wrong way. So, yep, you got to make sure you're keeping in touch with everything that's going on and letting your voice be heard when it needs to be heard. And you can even be the one to lead it. You don't have to just sign a petition. You can start it. So,
and
I
let's
didn't go
start
to the
holding people accountable for their words and their actions, because I mean, it's very detrimental now with social media, and anybody can look at anything. So I mean, as we're recording this, I mean, a 10-year-old can click on this video. So, and
right.
I think, we try to be mindful on this platform about what we say and how we say it. We don't always get it right, but we try.
What you mean we don't always get it right? We always get it right. I do. No, just kidding. But yeah, we definitely are mindful of what we say on our platform, and anyone could see it and listen to it in the same way with the ones that aren't good. Like, people can see it, listen to it, and then they share it to people who may not even be looking on YouTube. They're sharing it. So speaking of that, share this video with your closest 3 friends.
Yes.
So you guys can share the love of the real play, and it's all about that, though, being there for what you need to be there for and standing up for what needs to be stood up for. So
yes.
yeah, well, I think that's all that we really had for this episode. You guys let us know what your thoughts were. I didn't go to the actual petition for Kevin Samuels, so I'm wondering if they've hit 5,000. I'm just looking at the social media post, but I would like to see what happens if it were to get into the news and how fast that would spread to
Yeah.
different ethnicities. Because right now, I'm pretty sure we're the only ones hearing him. Yeah.
I don't know. I know what's funny. But yeah, guys, let us know what you think about Kevin Samuels. Would you sign the petition? You know,
Yeah.
let us know.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to the Real Play Podcast. You know how to get in touch with us. You can reach me on social media at Raven with two N's, Raven with love.
And you can reach me at Ebony D Johnson on Instagram. And
Or you can reach us together at the Real Play Podcast
on
on Instagram.
Instagram and at the real play podcast at gmail.com if you want to email us anything. And then there's this award. It's called the Black Podcast Awards. If you guys can vote for us on that as well, that'll be helpful.
Yes, please and thank you in advance.
Yes.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
and we will hear, or you will hear from us next week.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.